Coming up on this episode of Driven, we'll see the story on men's swimmer Tanner Barton, who turned something that could have destroyed his life into a chance to educate others. And we have the exclusive story on wide receiver Willie Snead, who has led Ball State to back-to-back bowl games. Don't go anywhere. All that and more is coming up next on Driven.
Ball State Sports Links Driven is proudly presented by Stoops Automotive. Online at stoopsauto.com.
What's going on, everyone? I'm Zach Hughes. Welcome into Studio B in the December episode of Driven, presented by Stoops, driven to be the best. Coming up on this episode, we've got a couple great stories on freshman men's and women's basketball players, and our last in focus ever. But first, we start with a story on Tanner Barton, a freshman on the men's swimming and diving team who at a very young age was told his life would change forever. Tanner had to overcome a mysterious disease and not let it control his life. Here's his story called Blueblooded, produced by Connor Onion and Peter Loomis.
I was 8 years old. I remember going through a why me phase. It's true, I don't know what I'd do without them. I really don't.
Perseverance acquired a new meaning during the spring of Tanner Barton's second grade year.
He was doing gymnastics at the time and complained constantly of his legs being shaky. We took him to the doctor. Everything seemed okay.
So when September rolled around, I wasn't swimming like I was in the summer. I wasn't having the activity levels that I was used to having. I was drinking a lot of water, a lot of milk. I was frequently going to the bathroom. I even ended up wetting the bed a few nights, and we knew that for a third grader, this is not right. My family doctor took a blood test and said, all right, we need to get you to Children's Hospital because we think that this could be more serious.
And that's the first time ever since he was born that I went to the doctor without my wife. So I take him to the doctor, and the doctor tells me all the bad news. I came home, and I said, hey, we got to go down to the emergency room.
When I was diagnosed with diabetes, I was in the third grade, and it was September 2nd, 2003. That day will always stick with me because it was a life-changing day.
At the age of 8 years old, Tanner came to the realization that his journey would not be the same as most his age.
Do I have to be the one? Why am I sitting out at practice? Why do I have to go back and swim when I could have done it right then, but I can't do it right then? So anger, I think, and a little bit of embarrassment. He really didn't want to share with anybody. He didn't want anybody to know. I remember sitting somewhere and giving himself a shot in his leg under the table so nobody would see.
Throughout my years in elementary school, I was the only diabetic in middle school. When I went to high school, there were 3 diabetics, but it was still trying to cope with the disease and coming to terms with your new situation.
It took a long time for him to accept that I've got to deal with this the rest of my life. It's never going to go away.
My mom has been instrumental in this journey of my life, and the same goes with my dad. They work as a team, always there with open arms, ready to give me a hug and a kiss and just say, you know, look at everything you've been blessed with, look at where we've come, and I'm forever grateful for that.
With the initial shock behind him, Barton began working towards a cause, the Juvenile Diabetes Research Foundation.
He all of a sudden became super active. They start calling on him to do talks for, you know, the walk, and he went out and was an advocate for it. He sits on an international council right now for JDRF. He goes to a lot of the conferences. I think he kind of felt after a while, if I'm going to deal with this, I better work to maybe get a cure.
As an advocate for a cure, Tanner came into contact with Michael J. Fox at a research symposium. Inspired by Barton's message, Fox included Tanner in his autobiography, raving over Tanner's toughness and boyish bravado.
When one is diagnosed with diabetes, it can come as a curveball not only to the individual, but to their entire family, because it really takes a toll on everyone involved. And I want to help those children, and I want to show that they don't have to be hopeless. They don't have to look at their situation in a dreary way, because you can still accomplish so much. And yes, it will be difficult, and yes, you will have to take more precautions. But as long as you have the attitude that it won't hold you back, it won't hold you back. It's as simple as that. You just have to be ready, and you have to be willing to fight. If I were to give advice to another diabetic athlete, I would say continue to have faith, because with faith and with your support system and your higher power, you can accomplish anything you want to. You just always have to have that right attitude. You have to have a positive energy, and whenever you are facing a difficult situation, just knowing that I can do this.
Overall, the thing that makes me most proud is that he ultimately didn't let it get to him. He's so involved in everything with JDRF right now that I think that's what makes me happy, that he's embraced it as best he can.
Barton has not only embraced diabetes, he has thrived despite the disease, earning an opportunity to swim at the Division I level.
My biggest fear coming into college was explaining my type 1 diabetes to my coach and my teammates, because when my blood sugar is below 70, when it's in the hypoglycemic range, I physically can't exercise and risk of going into a coma. And I wanted to come in and show them, look, I am going to work hard. These are my goals, and I am going to do everything I can to reach my goals. But if my diabetes interferes, I want you to know what is going on.
The first thing he did when he got here was make a speech to the team about the fact that he was a diabetic, and he might have to get out and stop during the practices. And so that was really good for the team just to understand. I mean, there were some questions and everything, but there's nothing really big from the team.
They understand that when my blood sugar is out of whack, they know that I'm doing everything I can. That's just part of me. That's part of my personality and my character.
Donning Cardinal and White in the pool is only one step in Tanner's lifelong mission to serve under the blue ribbon, representing hope for a cure for diabetes. For Ball State Sports Link, I'm Connor Onion.
Wow, just an absolute role model for people, turning something so negative at such a young age into a chance to now teach kids and change people's lives. Thanks, Tanner, for sharing that story with us and for sharing that story with all of you. Our next story, though, comes from just down the hall of Llewellyn Pool in Worthen Arena, as the women's basketball team is off to a 3-4 start, still trying to find the grips with a few new faces being introduced to the team. And two of those freshmen are Renee Bennett and Haley Richardson. Here's an In Focus about those two, produced by Dylan Welch, Tyler Bradfield, and Tori Fox.
I'm Haley Richardson from Ligonier, Indiana, and I'm a guard.
I'm Renee Bennett from Muskego, Wisconsin, and I'm a center.
What I love most about playing basketball is definitely like your team is like your second family, and just I love the game.
What I love most about playing basketball is it's a really competitive sport, and I feel like you have to rely on your teammates more than you can rely on yourself sometimes, so I like that atmosphere a lot.
Everyone, we call each other the twinnies, so our team kind of makes fun of us for it, but we're always together.
We always just do random stuff together, and it's just, some of it's good, some of it's not so good.
I think we're at a pretty good stage. We definitely have some more work to do, but we're all coming together really well and clicking, and everything's going pretty smoothly.
I think that, being a freshman, it's really hard, trying to come out there and find what your spot is, because you kind of think that someone else is in front of you and they're better from you, so you're just kind of here to learn. You're kind of in the shadows, but I feel like all of us are kind of stepping out now, and we know like what our positions are. You know, like we know what we're supposed to do when we go in there, and I feel like it's just helping our team more.
I would say like she's kind of like my long lost sister. Like
our families, like in our lives, like match exactly, and it's weird. But like I don't know. At first
we didn't really like each other.
We didn't really like each other at first, and then like one day we were just like together, and we were like started figuring all this stuff out, and it was kind of weird, but I like it.
I like it a lot. I like it a lot.
With talent like those two and the return of every starter from last year's team, it seems like really only a matter of time before Coach Sally's squad finds themselves on the winning end of a lot more ball games. And a guy who knows a lot about that women's team from calling games on WCRW Radio and our social media host, Connor Onion, joins me now. Connor, another team trying to find their grips a little bit is that men's basketball team as well.
Well, Renee and Haley, they add great height to that Ball State Cardinals women's basketball team front court, but another guy that provides some great size on the men's side is Franco House and Zach McClusack. And Tori Fox caught up with Franco in this production of SportsLink's 16 Players in 16 Days.
Ever since I was little, I played basketball. That's why I started out playing, and I've always loved it. Well, originally, I knew some of the teammates like Bo Calhoun and Zay Returner. I had played against him, and I thought he's a really good basketball player, so I figured I wanted to play with him too. So that was a major part, and then the coaching was obviously a part of it too. But I just found out we had lost our coach, and then probably a month later he called me and he was like, I still want to recruit you and all this. And then he came on a home visit, and that's when I really connected with him. Well, with me, the biggest part was getting in shape. I came in really bad shape, so I was working out. I was doing bike workouts every morning, and it really paid off now. I've lost about probably 20, 25 pounds just in the last 3 months. It's been a long way for me. I haven't really set that many goals. The goals are just getting in, playing, contributing, trying to make our team the best we possibly can. I guess I just want to win. I want to come out, turn around the basketball program as everybody on our team wants to, because we know we had a bad year last year, but we just want to come out and support Ball State.
Big thanks to Franco House for sitting down with us and talking to us for our production of 16 Players in 16 Days. But it's that time of month again. It's time to look at our favorite tweets from the month of December. Starting off with women's swimming. They were in Miami of Ohio, out in Oxford for the Miami Invitational, and had a very strong individual performance from Bridget Rule as she remained undefeated on the season for the Cardinals in the breaststroke, as they're going to take a break, but they'll be back January 10th at IUPUI. Connor Ryan, senior wide receiver, very proud of his 15 Ball State Cardinals teammates that were nominated for All-MAC selections. 4 of those Cardinals were named to the first team, including Jonathan Newsom, Jordan Hansel, Willie Snead, and Rachel Galligan was with, she was out at the Western Kentucky Ball State women's basketball game as the Cardinals won in thrilling fashion, coming down from 6 points down in the second half, as the Cardinals got 26 points from Jill Morrison as the Cardinals improved to 3-4 on the season. Mariah Cross, sophomore gymnast, very excited to get the 2014 season underway as the Cardinals had their red and white meet on December 6th, as the Cardinals are looking forward to Illinois State on January 4th. And finally, the Ball State Cardinals women's tennis team got their man, as Max Norris will be coming over from the Alabama Crimson Tide to be the 5th women's tennis coach in Ball State history. Norris, a former Ball State alum, as he participated in graduate school working under the men's tennis program here back in 2010. But to join the conversation, go out and follow us on Facebook and Twitter by searching Ball State SportsLink on Facebook and going to the tag at BSU SportsLink. And now, back to the star of the show, Zach Hughes.
Thanks, Connor. Let's take that walk back down to Llewellyn Pool now from Worthen Arena. And Tucker Hale and Michael Oakes, 2 seniors on the swimming and diving team, are in their final season as Cardinals. And this is the final In Focus that was made by SportsLink. Here's their story, produced by Braden Schlegelmilch and executive producer of the series, Peter Loomis.
My name's Tucker Hale. I'm from Fishers, Indiana, and I'm a backstroker and freestyler.
My name's Michael Oakes. I'm from Franklin Community, Indiana, and I'm a freestyler.
I didn't start swimming until I was in high school, and then I had some friends that were going to be on the team and knew a few of the people, so I figured I wanted to try it. I had played baseball before that, but wasn't really having fun with it.
Started in high school as well. My brother was a swimmer, so he kind of got me hooked onto it, and he actually swam in college, so that's why I'm here. We play Ultimate Frisbee a lot.
We're really into the game of things. We play the game of things quite a bit, and get all the guys on the team will come over and we'll play the game of things, things like that.
We're kind of the swimmer house, the Speedo Shack is what we like to call it. Last year at MAC, I was on a relay team, the 400 medley relay. We broke a record. I will definitely remember that for a while.
Mine goes back to a relay in high school. Senior year going to state was a really big deal, and we got top 3 at state, and it was pretty cool to finish off our high school career.
After meeting the guys, they're a good group of guys. Coach Thomas is really awesome. You know, I'm glad to be here, honestly.
Yeah, I'd go with the family aspect. It's kind of it's a close-knit group, which is really nice, but also a lot of us just having the opportunity to keep swimming was a really big deal for us. So.
Yeah, being able to continue to compete in college.
There's a lot of programs that just kind of get cut off once you get to college, so being able to still be here is pretty cool.
And starting later on in January, SportsLink will introduce a very new series called iAthlete, so definitely be on the lookout for that. Well, our last story of this month is about one of the best receivers in the Mid-American Conference. Willie Snead leads the conference in catches and yards per game and leads all receivers with 14 touchdowns. He has led Ball State to back-to-back bowl games, but the name on the back of his jersey isn't the only thing that changed heading into this season. He had the opportunity of a lifetime this summer that changed his game forever. Here's his story, called Snead the Fourth, produced by Brad Daly, Chris Kaczynski, and Luke Martin.
Everything slows down for just a second when I go out there and make a play. You got to keep your eyes on the ball. Everything blocks out for me. I'm so confident in my hands and what I can do out there on the field.
The name Willie Snead doesn't just represent the man donning the cardinal and white. Willie Snead represents a past, a history, a legacy. Willie Snead's football passion began way before he started making sensational plays for the Cardinals. It actually began before he even knew what a route was.
First time ever experiencing football was probably when I was 4 years old. My dad was, really heavily into the game, and he was a personal trainer at the time. I knew football was going to be, what I grew up to do, and, what I, put everything into.
Willie Snead believed he knew how much football was cherished in his life. That was until his parents, Willie Snead III and Sophia Snead, would teach their son an everlasting lesson.
I got into trouble a couple times, growing up when I was in middle school and high school, and they disciplined me. They sat me out games. They took away football one time from me, and I was, that was devastating for me because, that's never happened before, and that's all I know.
Willie was born in the state of Florida, but put his name on display during his high school days in the state of Michigan. But why the move from the Sunshine State all the way to Michigan? Well, the answer's simple. It was his father.
I was in 9th grade at the time, and he said, what you think about, moving to Michigan? And I was like, why would we move there? And, he pulls out a pamphlet in the school. Holland Christian is up there, and, they're building a program. They're building a new high school and everything, and it looks good. And I was like, Dad, wherever you go, I'm going. And, I felt strongly that if I follow my dad, I will go to college, and I will, be able to get that shot that I've always wanted. With my dad being my coach, I had to mature a lot faster because, you know, if I hold an ego, he's gonna look at me differently. I'm gonna start acting differently, and, you know, that's not what I wanted. I wanted a good relationship with my dad. I wanted a good relationship with my coach. After high school, you know, it was tough, and, you know, I left him, and, you know, I had to start with the new coaching staff, and, you know, just being coached by somebody else, it was kind of different for me.
Snead was equipped to handle whoever would be his next head coach. On December 20th, 2010, an FCS head coach from Elon named Pete Limbo was named head coach of the Cardinals.
Willie was the first recruit that I talked to when I first got hired. We were really in scramble mode, trying to hold together some of the verbal commitments that had gone almost a month without a head coach being in place. And the thing that impressed me about Willie was that he was willing to listen. There were clearly some other guys that had been re-recruited by other schools. Willie was genuinely willing to listen to what our plan was going to be, and obviously he kept his commitment to Ball State.
Willie's commitment to Ball State led to a game-winning catch against Buffalo, and in his sophomore season against South Florida. But Limbo coached Snead on an important task.
What I learned from him was when you have to play at a level that you know you can play at, there should be a bar that you should go straight across, and you should be able to play like that. You don't want ups and downs in your game, and I feel like that's where I learned the most. I want to be a consistent player and play at a high level at all times. And in order to do that, you have to study your film, you have to study your opponent, you have to, you know, put more into the game.
What Willie's like off the field is almost on the field. That's his life. He watches football. He's playing football video games. But off the field, he's just like any other college kid.
Before the fall 2013, Snead got an opportunity of a lifetime to work out with the Mannings at the Manning Passing Academy in Louisiana.
You know, Peyton Manning talked to me after the camp was over, and, you know, he said, you know, you have a bright future. And, you know, he said, you look good out there, you know, and I'm just proud of you. And, you know, that really touched me because that molded me into the player, you know, I feel like I've been this year, is playing with a lot of confidence and knowing that I can go out there and compete at a high level even though I'm in the MAC. And, you know, the MAC doesn't get as much respect as the SEC, Pac-12, you know, as those guys do. But, you know, just knowing that I've been out there with the big guys, I've worked out with them, and, you know, I'm no step behind. I'm right there with those guys, and that just gave me a whole bunch of confidence.
97 receptions, 1,429 yards, 14 touchdowns. The majority of those statistics were seen through a television screen from a distance for Snead III. But that wasn't the case one Saturday afternoon in Charlottesville, Virginia.
Before we even started the season, that game was, marked down for me because, my dad, went to Virginia, his first year of college, and then he transferred to Florida. So, there was a lot of emotions going on in that game. Just be able to step on the same campus my dad was at. I just wanted to put on the show for him. I wanted everybody in the stadium to remember the name, Willie Snead, because, they heard it before, but I don't think they realized, who the person was out there. Like my dad, I'm just really quiet and shy, but, when I open up to people, I like to make sure that they know I care about people. I really do care about people, and if anybody needed anything from me, they know they could come to me.
For many, 4 is simply a number. To Willie Snead, it's who he is.
I really put the 4th on the back of my jersey because, family means a lot to me. And, there's a generation that flows down in my name. My dad, my grandfather, and my great-grandfather, just passing that name along, I feel like it's an honor.
For Snead IV, his play doesn't just mirror himself. It reflects generations.
Family is just showing love and be able to, showing love and be able to, just be able to embrace it. I'm at Ball State because, I'm trying to get education and be able to create a way for my family. And I feel like if I can do that, then everybody's gonna be happy and I can take care of my family. because they've taken care of me, and I want to be able to, you know, give back to them tenfold. That's my motivation for football.
For Ball State Sports Link, I'm Luke Martin.
Willie Snead was one of 4 Ball State players named to the All-MAC first team this season and will look to give the program its first bowl game victory ever. Well, that's going to do it for another episode of Driven. If you like these stories, come check out more by liking us on Facebook by searching Ball State Sports Link, and follow us on Twitter at BSU Sports Link. For our producers, Emily Barker and Luke Martin, social media host Connor Onion, and everyone on the floor, thanks for watching. I'm Zach Hughes, and we'll see you next time.